Okay, hello. I've noticed a theme in everyone who spoke so far, that we all had a journey, and the journey shifted course multiple times and had a common thread throughout it. When I was a kid, you were told to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher, and it was very limiting. So I kind of just chose to never take that path and just make my own path. And I think I'm glad we did, and I'm glad for things like this because we can introduce many more career options and opportunities at a younger age, so you don't feel so, I mean, you're probably told different things these days, but you don't feel so limited. So right now, I'm the program director of the narrative medicine program at Columbia University Medical Center. What that means is we work at the medical center with all the clinical schools. I run all the programs that we run at the medical center. I also built an online certificate program that just launched this fall, the first one in the world in narrative medicine. And I run the website, I run the social media, so I'm using my education background, marketing background, coding background, and working with people on a daily basis. So this career combines everything. And how many of you know what narrative medicine is? I bet I'm going to get no hands. I got a half hand. The easiest way to explain this is it's a field that fortifies clinical practice by knowing what to do with people's stories. So it's an intersection of humanities and medicine in a new way, where it's not just reading medical humanities and reading about medical literature. You're actually doing stuff with literature to teach people to listen better, to perceive better, observe better, and then therefore make better choices. So how did I get here? I never knew what I wanted to do, which is great. In high school, I loved art and math, so I took as many courses as I could in them. My parents made me, against my will, take English AP and could take a computer programming course. And I'm terrible at English. I didn't want to learn computer programming. It seemed dry. Turns out English is the most helpful because you use it in every career. And computer programming is so creative. I had no idea, and helped me, because now I run the website, but also think creatively through any situation I've encountered in life. So I kind of set myself up with some good courses. I took this great 3-hour exam on a computer that's supposed to tell you what career you're going to go into. I got sanitation management. I'm like, I don't even know what that is, so I'm just going to keep going on my path. And I went to college. I got a degree in sociology and German studies, and I chose sociology because it's understanding how people work as a group, and that can be applied to every field, because I still didn't know what to do. Meanwhile, I'm doing my little computer programming thing for fun on the side. I realize I'm really good at computers, but I'm kind of like afraid of what technology is going to do to humanity in the future. So I graduated college, wrote an essay, how computers are going to ruin the world, and then went right to get my first master's degree in instructional design and technology, because I decided online learning is here to stay. There's a way to make it better. So I went into this field, and I came out, and meanwhile, I'm going to skip ahead to one of my advice points. Keep your doors open, because everything you do there's something you can get from that will count towards your future plan. For example, I worked in a warehouse one summer packing radiator fans in a BMW warehouse. Stood there, had great muscles right here, just packing these fans every day. And people drive around in their picking carts and come by and talk to me for like 20 minutes. And they used to call me Dr. Cindy, because they'd all come by with their problems and their stories and their lives every day. I knew about their families, their deaths, births, everything going on. And I didn't know it then, but I really like people's stories. So all these things were starting to add up to something. I just didn't know where it was going yet. So I got out. I worked first in pharmaceutical marketing, instructional design, technology. It was kind of really dry. I wanted to get more into healthcare. So I got this job at Columbia University as an educational technologist, working with all the clinical schools on education and bringing technology purposefully into the classroom. So that really used my education side and my technology side and my people side, because people would come to me like, I want you to build this thing to do this. And I'm like, well, what do you really want? Like, you really had to have the story and understand the experience. And like, maybe that's not the best choice. So while I was there, heard about this new degree, narrative medicine. Sounded cool. I was really inspired by a doctor years ago who listened to me. So I'm like, I'll just take some classes. Like, start with philosophy. It'll be really easy. It wasn't. Took another class, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to see where this degree takes me. As an adult learner, everybody's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know, but there's something about communication, listening, and reading that's happening here. And whatever this gets me, it'll get me on a new path somewhere. So after this, I switched, then I got recruited as the program director of narrative medicine to build the online program. So now I'm bringing together narrative medicine, education, and technology, and people. So my path is constantly combining, and what I learned is there's a lot of things to do in healthcare that are not clinical. And I love being in healthcare, and healthcare, like culinary arts, is something that we're always going to need, and the rich, the poor, whoever you are, everyone gets ill, and healthcare is always going to be important. And from a non-clinical perspective, and Columbia is the second largest employer in New York City. At the medical center, I would say probably almost half of us are not clinicians, and there's so much work to be done in this field. So, of course, now while I'm here, I decide I do want to be a clinician, so I've gone back to school on the side in occupational therapy, because that particular field is really just like social work, actually. That was another idea. It's the best at listening to people's whole stories and creatively thinking how to help somebody get back into their life and do their activities of daily living. So stories seem to be my thread. Thank God for that computer programming class, because technology I've used in every single job I've had and will continue to use, and it makes you really marketable for any job in the future. Did I get my whole path? Yeah, sanitation management. Yeah. Oh, so every experience you have counts, and like when we hire people at Columbia, we actually look for well-rounded people. When the medical school hires, enrolls students, admits students, everyone, whether it's an employee or a student, we're looking for a creative side and a science, math kind of side. Because to be a good clinician, you need to be able to be creative, to see who you're talking to and understand their experience. And that's where the English, the communication, the art, all the creativity come into place. And then you need to be smart enough to know what to do with that information. Science, math, anatomy, physiology, all those like harder fields. So the more well-rounded you are, so when you're picking your courses, try something you don't think you're going to like. Let's say you just like English and art. Try the computer program, and who knows? Like, it might open a new door, or you might see relationships you didn't think were there initially. So really try to expose yourself to as many things, because with that exposure is where you get the skills that'll go take you on your journey. And the journey is a lot of fun. So people you meet along the way will continue to guide you, and you'll just keep taking in experience in warehouses. Another one of my side jobs, I teach spin classes at the YMCA. So I get used to talking in front of people and shouting at them, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So it helps me now. I run events. I can use those skills there. All the skills, really. So it's a fun journey, and am I over time? No. I tried to get that into my 10 minutes. So that's my summary, but take as many different things as you can, because you don't really know. It's hard to know at this age. So try new things. Don't be afraid to try. And what you like will always be there. You'll keep that with you as you try new things. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thanks.